What's up, Vatos? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm on MLB The Show 22 and I'm going to let the game decide who is the best race in baseball. We have the defending champs whites who have dominated the sport for over 100 years. Half of that time was due to extreme racism and segregation, but that's all just part of America's pastime. They've been the best at hitting dingers and their wives since World War I by a long shot. But the challengers will be the Latinos. The Latinos had it a little bit easier than the blacks back in the early days of the MLB. They let a few Latinos play early on as long as they tried their best to stay out of the sun, and Mexican field workers were allowed to play a few ball games on the weekend after a good harvest of legalized slavery. Speaking of the blacks, they were next up on my list to challenge the whites, but you'll notice that a lot of the Latino players on the squad are black, so it's more of a combined effort to take down the gringos. The Latino squad includes players born in Latin America countries, players of Latino descent, and players I assumed must be Spanish based off of their last names. They have one 99 overall player in Ronald Acuna Jr. from Venezuela. They have a ton of great hitters and young talent on this team. Their fielding is outstanding, which goes hand in hand with their nation's economies, but their weakness is pitching. They only have two 90 overall pitchers, Julio Urias from Mexico and Carlos Rodon, who is of Cuban descent. The whites, on the other hand, 6 of their 10 best players are pitchers. Just like in football, the whites love positions where you don't have to be a great athlete and it's fairly easy to cheat. But their position players are still solid. They have 99 overall Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, and several low 90 players. To keep things fair, after I assembled the teams, I let the computer come up with the MLB rosters and lineups. And here we are in Game 1 of the World Series. The Latinos are on the Tampa Bay Rays and the whites are on the Cincinnati Reds. We're starting off in Cincinnati and it's going to be a night game that could be an advantage for some of our darker Latinos. So far in the postseason, the Latinos have lost one game while the whites are undefeated and have a slight advantage in every stat category. The starting pitcher for the whites is Corbin Burns, who has allowed no runs in 9 innings pitched. That's nice and all, but he clearly hasn't pitched against enough immigrants. Acuna starts the series off with a double on the second pitch. Juan Soto is on cleanup duty and Burns ends up throwing him one down the middle and he grounds one towards the outfield, which brings Acuna in for a run. Suarez held them scoreless through the first, but Bryce Harper hits one deep into left. I feel like Ramirez could have ran that down for an out, but instead it's a double. Max Muncy full count, but he hits another double into the outfield, which ties the game up at 1. After the hit, we get a camera shot of the real stars of today's game, the umpires. Tyler O'Neill's up and he gets a line drive over the shortstop. That's an easy RBI. He has 95 speed, but he's still white. He gets thrown out at second. Manny Machado softly hits one into right field. He has 40 speed, but he isn't white, so he makes it into second. Runners on the corners and Ozzie hits it up the middle. They get a double play, but the game is tied up again at 2. Top of the 4th, and Jose Ramirez starts the Latinos off with a double on the first pitch. There's now 2 on, both runners steal as Manny Machado hits one into the outfield, which brings in Jose. Still in the 4th, bases loaded, 2 outs, and Juan hold these nuts. Soto is up to bat. Burns throws him off the plate, but Juan dodges it, takes a big whiff of air, grips his stick tight, and next pitch.
And that one in the air, center field. Back there. Off the batter's eye.
Grand slam for Soto. This is a visual representation of why I think early 1900s pitcher stats were inflated. If you put some random Oscar Martinez or Big Daddy Kane in that league, some of those white fellas would have been back to their factory jobs. Bottom of the 6th, and the whites show some life. Real Muto is on second and Trey Turner drives him in with a single towards right field. I forgot this game has a fan cam, a great feature, but I feel like I'm in North Korea. This poor little girl is skin and bone and being forced to watch a game with her fake popcorn. Bottom of the 9th, and the Reds get Bryce Harper on base after a questionable ball 4. Trevor Story hits a line drive single, full count for Muncy, and he goes out looking, which proves to be a huge moment in this game because Freddie Freeman goes on to hit a 3-run homer, but they're still down a run. O'Neill hits a ball that looks like it has a chance, but Soto is trolling. He was right under that the whole time. Suarez allowed 2 runs in 5 innings, and Juan Soto went 3 for 3 with 5 RBIs. Game 2, and Chris Sale is pitching for the whites, another guy who has thrown 9 innings and has allowed 0 runs. He was looking like the employee of the month for Border Patrol. He wasn't letting any of these Latinos get past him. Jose Barrios was also having a great game, and one of the highlights of the night was he threw a slide curve into Trey Turner's genitals for a strike. Trey might have some Deshaun Watson aspirations because he quickly grounded out and ran in to find the nearest trainer.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Finally, there's some action in this game other than some mild cock and ball torture. Ozzie Albies hit a 2-run homer. It barely stayed in, but the Latinos take a 2-run lead. Later on in the 5th, 1 out, runners on the corners, and Marte hit a sac fly RBI. Afterwards, Perez barely slides in time for a run. Story hit a solo home run in the 7th, but the Latino defense held up in this one. They win 3-1 and take a 2-0 lead in the series. Game 3 and the Whites have another great pitcher ready to go. But welcome to the Dominican Republic. Marte hit a bomb into right field just 7 pitches into the game. Julio Urias has been pitching a near perfect game up until the top of the 5th. The Latinos started to look like they had too many Modelos after coming home with the 2-0 lead. There's an error at first, then a pop fly towards the foul line, which leads to a double after no one makes a play on the ball. Juan Soto representing the right fielders well, he makes a diving catch for the out, but the Whites tie it up at 1. Top of the 6th and Julio is still in. I just noticed that the bullpen is on the side of the field out in the open. The stadium can hold 43,000 people, but they couldn't find some cover for their $1 million athletes. But Julio walks Muncy, and then Freddie Freeman opens the game up with a 2-run homer into the Death Star. The Latinos put in Diego Castillo, who walks the 9th hitter JT, which led to Mike Trout hitting a homer into left field. The Whites win this one 5-2. Clayton Kershaw dominated this game, allowing 1 run in 7 innings, which made for some boring content. Game 4 and the Latinos are using their only other 90 overall pitcher, Carlos Rodon. The Whites also sent out a pretty good pitcher named Jacob deGrom. This game really started in the 3rd inning after Trey Turner got a hit up the middle. The Latinos pitched out to protect second, but Turner stole it anyway with his 99 speed. LeMahieu hit another ball up the middle, and the Whites are up 1-0. The Latinos respond by sending out their biggest Dominican. Machado hits one over the fence, just clear the foul line. Fernando Tatis Jr. may not be as big, but he's not afraid to juice himself up with steroids. He crushes one over right center. Runners on 1st and 2nd, and the Latinos have another cheater up. Altuve hits a double that brings in 2 runners. The Latinos are up 4-1. Top of the 5th, Freddie Freeman, the Latino destroyer, gets a good hit that turns into the first triple of the series. 2 strikeouts in a row and 1 high fly ball deep center, and Freeman hit a triple for nothing. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, Tatis is still feeling juicy. He brings in both runners, giving the Latinos a 5-run lead. Trout hits a tough single towards center field. Machado's a drunk, and Trevor Story brings them both home. Freddie Freeman, the man who was once struck out by first baseman Rizzo, now is looking like a domestic terrorist. He keeps sending bombs into the stands. 5-6, but Juan Soto hits another homer, making it 5-7. Bottom of the 8th, and the Latinos have 2 on base. Machado hits one deep into left field, but Tyler O'Neill with the White Boy Bunnies. Top of the 9th, Trey Turner gets walked, but LeMahieu pops one out towards the right foul line, and that's the ball game. The Latinos have a 3-1 lead. 99 deGrom was torn a new one in this game by the Latinos, 6 runs in 4 innings. Game 5 and the Latinos are at home for the last time in the series. They take a 1-0 lead in the 1st after a sac fly RBI. Tyler O'Neill ties it up with his first home run of the postseason. There was no more action until 2 outs in the 5th. Tyler O'Neill hits another dinger into left for a double. He almost took out the Stand Up to Cancer poster while shitting on Latin Americans. I would have loved to see how his PR team handled that one. Trevor Story follows up by hitting a ball directly to Juan Soto, who has been carrying the Latinos this series, but he makes an error. O'Neill scores, and it's 2-1 Whites. Top of the 9th, and JT hit a double, which brought up the man on a mission, the Christopher Columbus of baseball, Tyler O'Neill. He hits a beauty towards 3rd base and his bullpen for an RBI. Liam Hendricks has 1 out and needs to protect a 2-run lead against the top of the lineup. He walks Acuna and Albies. Full count against Juan Soto, and I know Angel Hernandez when I see one. The 10th man for the Latinos calls a ball on this pitch. They keep Hendricks in, and he strikes out Barry Bonds Jr. Then Vladdy swings at the first pitch, which pops up for the 3rd out. The Whites squeeze by and win this one thanks to Tyler. Game 6, and Corbin Burns is looking to redeem himself after the ass raping he took in Game 1. 2 outs, and he has the bases loaded after an error at 3rd, but he goes on to strike out Jose Ramirez in 5 pitches. Next inning, same situation, but now he's up against Juan Soto. He gets him to ground out, and again holding them scoreless. Bottom of the 2nd, the Whites have runners on the corner, and Tyler the Crusader is up to bat. He hits a catchable ball to center field, but 99 Acuna makes an error, which gives the Whites a 1-0 lead. Burns is pitching with 2 on in the 5th, but he strikes out Jose again. Shane Bieber took over for the Whites in the 7th, and he made a fatal mistake against Soto. He takes an inside ball and launches it over the right field wall. Maybe some payback for pitching inside at Soto. The Latinos send in a new pitcher who nails the first batter in the back. Top of the 8th, you hit ours and we hit yours. Bieber was able to nail Grandal on the kneecap. No one can seem to RBI in this one, so Freddie Freeman has to solo homer in the bottom of the 8th. Jose actually tried getting this one, but just ended up turning into a locked video game character. Trout hits a line drive to third, but there's an error. I think we have Pete Rose as the third base coach. He stepped right in front of the action and the runner was able to get to first. What did Muncy do to deserve this? They nail him again and load the bases. Josh Donaldson with a full count and a chance to put this game out of reach. He hits this one deep towards the left, but Jose gets under it and the Whites hold on to a 1-run lead going into the 9th. Top of the order, and Acuna hits a ground ball single. Ozzie swings and misses on a ball that almost hit him. Acuna is caught stealing on a 1-0 count and the Whites need one more out for Game 7. They made a wise choice in walking Soto and choosing to pitch against Steroid Boy. Tatis hit a ball to Mike Trout out in center and the Whites win again in a close one, 1-2. The series is tied 3-3 and the Whites will host Game 7. Acuna is leading off for the second inning and hits a home run off to Grom and past Trout. Jose Ramirez gets a close ball call for a walk in the 5th. In comes Manny Machado, who blasts one towards left field. He's out here looking like a white guy going around the bases. Sends some finger guns to the first base coach. Touches home and butchers a double high five, but you can always try again. The Latinos are up 3-0. Vladdy gets an RBI single in the 6th inning to bring the lead up to 4. Bottom of the 6th, top of the order, and Trey Turner gets to second. Mike Trout comes in and hits a much needed home run, bringing the lead back down to 2. Julio had a great performance today, but they end up replacing him with Eduardo Rodriguez, who has pitched 1/3 of an inning in the entire postseason. In the bottom of the 7th, JT hits a double off Eduardo. Trey Turner swings at a bad pitch, but it goes towards Altuve, who took 50 steps to run 10 feet, and Turner, a full-sized human, made it to first and advanced JT to third. Bryce Harper, white privilege, called ball for a walk. Mike Trout is up with the bases loaded and 1 out. He hits one down the left line and brings in 2 runners to tie the game up at 4. Castillo had to replace Eduardo after he took a dump on the field, and he was able to get them out of the inning with 2 strikeouts in a row. Nothing happened for the rest of regulation, and they're going to extra innings in Game 7. The Latinos are at the top of their order, and Tatis grounds out to third for their second out. But in comes Juan Soto. They throw him a ball on the first pitch, and I don't think intentionally walking him would be the worst idea here. Instead, they throw him a low and outside 4-seam fastball.
Swung on, belted. That's back there. Turning and looking, and it's gone.
That's out of here for Juan's 4th home run of the series. The Whites get another out after a line drive to the shortstop. It's all up to Giovanni Gallegos to stop the Whites, and apparently umpire Kenny Jansen might have a say in it too. Pause. Is that Hasbulla? Muncy strikes out swinging after being up 3-0. Story gets walked, and Tyler the Crusader is looking to commit a small genocide, but he settles for a single. Freddie Freeman has been one of the most inconsistent players for the Whites, and the race war is on his shoulders with 2 on base. No balls and 2 strikes, and he gets a perfectly located off speed that grounds out for a double play. The Latinos win Game 7 in extra innings. The Whites have officially passed ownership of the sport to the Latinos. Hot dogs and hamburgers will be replaced with tacos and empanadas. Musical chairs will be replaced with piñata contest. The 7-inning stretch will be replaced with a 7th-inning nap. Tucking in your shirt and wearing your cap will be optional. Modelos will be allowed in the dugout. The MLB will become even bigger than the WNBA and MLS combined. For the series, Freddie Freeman managed to lead the Whites in home runs and RBIs while batting under 200. Juan Soto has to be the MVP of the series. He led the team in runs scored, hits. He was first in home runs and second in RBIs, only to a juicer. Julio Urias held it down for the Latinos at the pitching mound by pitching 27 innings with a sub-2 ERA and a .8 whip. But that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Go Cubs, no Kemaka, and try to hit the subscribe button with your wiener. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.